0600 local time. 12 contacts lift off from a mobile rail concealed in the coastal scrub near Bandar Abbas. They bank south toward the Strait of Hormuz, climbing to cruise altitude with the lethargic persistence of commercial machinery. These are Shahed-136 UAVs, loitering munitions designed around a simple, brutal economic calculus, quantity over quality. Powered by a Chinese-made MD-550 piston engine, they drone through the sky with the acoustic signature of a lawnmower. The airframe is a delta-wing composite, cheap to mold, carrying a 50-kilogram fragmentation, warhead, and commercial GPS. They possess no sensors, no seekers, and no capacity to receive new orders once the launch button is pressed. They are autonomous kinetic algorithms, following a pre-programmed set of waypoints until they impact a coordinate or fuel exhaustion. At 25,000 feet, the E-2D Advanced Hawkeye patrolling the slot detects the formation before the launch rails are cold. The APY-9 radar spinning atop the fuselage is not a standard X-band fire control set. It is a UHF band monster. UHF wavelengths resonate with the physical dimensions of small airframes, rendering the Shahed's composite stealth attempts physically impossible. While standard radars struggle to separate small drones from sea clutter, the APY-9 utilizes space-time adaptive processing. This algorithm filters out the chaotic Doppler returns of the waves, leaving the 12 drones exposed like flares. The Hawkeye is a $260 million node in the Naval Integrated Fire Control Counter-Air Network, or NIFC-CA. It does not just see. It builds a fire control quality track for every ship in the carrier strike group simultaneously. Through the cooperative engagement capability, data flows between assets with bandwidths high enough to transmit raw radar returns. A destroyer 40 miles over the horizon receives the data and computes a firing solution without using its radar. The Combat Information Center on the USS Higgins lights up with 12 hostile tracks, categorized as Vampire, inbound. But the tactical action officer hesitates, staring at a screen that displays the grim arithmetic of modern asymmetry. The inbound threat package represents a total Iranian expenditure of roughly $360,000, less than the fuel in his bunkers. To engage them with standard SM-2 interceptors would cost the American taxpayer $25 million in mere seconds. This is the cost exchange trap, a strategic deadlock where the defender bankrupts themselves, winning the tactical engagement. The TA knows an Iranian Mohajer 6 surveillance drone is loitering at 12,000 feet, transmitting this hesitation to Tehran. He could destroy the spotter, but the rules of engagement for this scenario dictate a show of conventional dominance. He orders the engagement using kinetic point defense systems, preserving the precious vertical launch cells for high-end threats. 0638. The drone formation crosses the 20-kilometer line, entering the outer engagement envelope of the destroyer's gun systems. The Mark 45 5-inch gun on the foredeck slews to the bearing, elevating its barrel for an airburst solution. It fires proximity-fused fragmentation shells, designed to detonate near the target and fill the air with tungsten cubes. The physics are unforgiving. High-velocity shrapnel shreds the fiberglass wings and plastic fuel tanks of the lead drones. 3 Shaheds disintegrate instantly, their guidance computers severed from their control surfaces by jagged, tearing metal. 9 contacts remain, closing at 80 knots, pushing into the 15-kilometer ring where the Phalanx CIWS waits. The Phalanx is a last-ditch defense, a Gatling gun guided by its own Ku-band radar, designed to saw targets. Its 6 barrels spin up to 4,500 rounds per minute, creating an impenetrable wall of 20-millimeter tungsten penetrators. 4 more drones fly into this buzz saw and cease to exist as aerodynamic objects, splashing into the Gulf. 5 survivors press on, now within 10 kilometers, forcing the TA to authorize the use of RAM missiles. These are short-range, infrared-seeking interceptors, highly effective but costing $900,000 per unit, 20 times the target cost. The launcher dumps 5 missiles in rapid succession, their seekers locking onto the heat of the drone's exhaust ports. Impact is total. The remaining 5 drones are erased from the sky in a flash of expanding warheads. The engagement lasted 94 seconds, achieved a 100% kill rate, and burned through $5 million in munitions. In Tehran, the command center analyzes the feed from the surviving surveillance drone and marks the probe a success. They have confirmed the Americans will spend millions to stop thousands and that the destroyer's magazines are finite. 0650. The main event begins as blast doors open across 3 geographically separated launch sites along the coast. 76 Shahed-136s launch in staggered waves, timing their flight paths to converge on the strike group simultaneously. 20 additional units launch but stay low, hugging the waves at 50 feet to hide in radar shadow. The strike group is about to face a saturation attack designed to overwhelm the fire control channels of Aegis. But on the deck of the USS Higgins, a flat, nondescript panel hums, ready to change physics. 0720. The tactical action officer issues a command that resets the tactical geometry. Meteor. Weapons free. Between the VLS cells and the bridge sits a reinforced enclosure housing a gallium nitride active electronically scanned array. This is the Navy's high-powered microwave system, a directed energy weapon that fires photons instead of physical slugs. Unlike a laser, which must dwell on a target to burn through it, HPM acts like lightning. It couples electromagnetic energy into the drone's internal wiring, inducing currents that exceed the breakdown voltage of semiconductors. The Shahed's flight control computer is built with commercial-grade chips rated for barely 5 volts of operational tolerance. Meteor hits them with kilovolts per meter, turning the drone's own internal wiring into a series of miniature heating elements. 0735. The northeastern wave of 41 drones enters the 18-kilometer kill zone, flying in a tight 25-degree formation. The Meteor array pulses steered electronically at the speed of light across the entire arc of the incoming swarm. In the Iranian ground station, 41 telemetry feeds simultaneously turn to gray static as their processors literally melt. There is no explosion, no fire, and no dramatic cinematic debris. The drones simply stop being aircraft. Their control surfaces lock, their engines flame out, and 41 multi-million-dollar investments in asymmetric warfare become ocean floor sediment. The cost per shot for the Meteor system is measured in the price of the diesel fuel required to run the generators. While an SM-2 costs $2 million, a Meteor Pulse costs less than a latte, tilting the economic balance back to the defender. 4 stragglers at the edge of the formation continue flying, having stayed just outside the primary power density of the microwave cone. The system's cooling cycle is 6 seconds, the capacitors recharge, the beams lose 5 degrees, and the stragglers are erased. 0745. The eastern formation of 35 drones attempts a flanking maneuver, but the Hawkeye has already handed their coordinates to Aegis. Meteor reorients, delivering a coherent burst of energy that fries the GPS antennas and inertial measurement units of the entire group. 76 drones have been neutralized in under 3 minutes, without the destroyer launching a single physical interceptor from its cells. The Iranian commanders are blind. They see the wreckage on satellite, but their sensors detected no launches and no radar locks. This is silent lethality, a weapon system that leaves no thermal signature and gives no warning to the target's sensors. 0750. The 20 reserve drones, skimming the waves at 20 feet, finally cross the radar horizon of the strike group. At this altitude, the multipath effect causes radar signals to bounce off the water, creating false targets and ghosting. The drones are hidden in the sea clutter, a chaotic mess of wave returns that normally renders long-range defense impossible. But Meteor doesn't need a persistent lock, it only needs a sector assignment and a high-probability volume of sky to flood. The TAO orders a volume sweep, painting the surface of the water with high-energy pulses in a 360-degree horizontal scan. 18 of the 20 sea skimmers suffer immediate processor failure. The remaining 2 crash into the water due to pilot-induced oscillation. Total count, 96 drones launched, 96 drones down, 0 missiles expended from the primary magazines of the Arleigh Burke. The magazine depth problem, which has haunted naval planners for decades, has been solved by the power of the ship's engines. However, Iran's doctrine is not just about drones. They are about to escalate to the big sticks of their coastal inventory. 0800. 2 Khalich Fars anti-ship ballistic missiles ignite their solid fuel boosters in the hills near Shiraz. These are Mach 3 killers, descending from the edge of space with 650-kilogram warheads and electro-optical terminal seekers. Simultaneously, 6 PACAP-3 fast attack boats surge from Bandar Abbas, carrying C-802 anti-ship cruise missiles. This is the combined arms saturation, a synchronized strike across 3 different speed regimes and 3 different altitudes. The Khalich Fars missiles will impact in 90 seconds, requiring the Aegis system to prioritize them above all else. The TAO authorizes SM-2 Block 3 AC interceptors, the only kinetic weapon capable of hitting a ballistic target in terminal descent. 4 missiles roar out of the VLS cells, their rocket motors lighting up the morning sky as they climb toward 80,000 feet. But this creates a new conflict. The SM-2S must fly through the same sectors that Meteor is currently defending against drones. A microwave weapon is blind to friend or foe. If an SM-2 flies into the Meteor's cone, its guidance package will melt. The Aegis weapons control system begins a process called sector scheduling, dividing the sky into microsecond time slots. It is a digital choreography where the HPM weapon winks off for milliseconds to let a friendly missile pass through. This coordination happens at speeds no human could manage, managing the interference of a dozen different radio frequencies. The SM-2S clear the hazard zone and lock onto the descending ballistic warheads 4 miles above the carrier. Two massive explosions rock the upper atmosphere as the Khalich Fars warheads are vaporized by the interceptor's kinetic energy. With the ballistic threat neutralized, the Aegis system immediately shifts focus to the surface-level mosquito swarm. The 6 PACAP-3 fast attack boats are closing at 52 knots, attempting to reach their C-802 missile release points. However, the strike group's MH-60R Seahawk, call sign Venom, has been loitering 40 miles out, specifically hunting surface hulls. The helicopter's ALQ-210 electronic support measures suite has already fingerprinted the boat's search radars from over the horizon. Venom ripples 6 AGM-114 Hellfire missiles in a fire-and-forget sequence, targeting the engine rooms of the lead vessels. Laser-guided precision meets fiberglass hulls. The PACAP boats are obliterated before they can even confirm the carrier's bearing. In Tehran, the realization sets in. The swarm is failing, the ballistic missiles are gone, and the Navy is losing its eyes. Desperation triggers the final phase. 140 additional Shad drones launch in a cloud formation from 4 separate coastal districts. This is the ultimate test of Meteor's thermal budget and the ship's electrical distribution system. High-powered microwaves generate immense waste heat within the gallium nitride elements, requiring constant seawater cooling. For 400 seconds, the Meteor array has been pulsing at maximum duty cycle, pushing the coolant temperature to the amber limit. The Aegis computer calculates a thermal recovery window, necessitating a 90-second shutdown to prevent the array from self-immolating. In this 90-second gap, 7 surviving drones from the final wave penetrate the outer layers and enter the red zone. The magazine math Iran relied upon is briefly relevant again. The ship must return to kinetic solutions or take a hit. The Phalanx CIWS mounts on the port and starboard sides wake up. Their radar is tracking the drones with terrifying mechanical precision. 3 drones are shredded by 20mm fire. 2 more are intercepted by RAM missiles at the 6-kilometer line. At 89 seconds, the Meteor system reports green on all cooling loops and instantly re-engages the final 2 stragglers. The drones drop into the sea just 3 kilometers from the destroyer's hull. The closest Iran would get all morning. 0815. The engagement concludes with a total silence that is more devastating to Iran than a conventional bombardment. 300 drones, 2 ballistic missiles, and 6 attack boats have been neutralized for the cost of 4 SM-2S and 6 Hellfires. But the tactical victory for the United States is secondary to the intelligence windfall gathered by the E-2D Hawkeye. Every time a drone launched, the Hawkeye's APY-9 radar geolocated the specific coordinates of the concealed launch rails. By forcing the Iranians to throw everything they had, the Navy tricked Tehran into revealing its entire coastal defense architecture. Every hidden bunker, every mobile tel site, and every command frequency is now mapped. The Arleigh Burke destroyers are already feeding these coordinates into the mission computers of their Tomahawk land attack missiles. Below decks, the strike planners are not looking at the drones they just shot down, they are looking at the targets they will hit next. Iran's strategy of saturation via asymmetry has been decapitated by a weapon that uses the speed of light to solve the math of war. The Meteor system has proven that the age of the cheap swarm is over before it truly began for the U.S. Navy. Magazine depth is no longer a constraint when your ammunition is generated by the ship's own propulsion turbines. The cost-exchange ratio has been flipped. It now costs the attacker more to build the drone than it costs the defender to kill it. This is the paradigm shift that renders traditional Iranian naval doctrine not just difficult, but physically obsolete. As the sun rises over the Gulf, the USS Abraham Lincoln continues its transit, its flight deck finally beginning to launch its own jets. The Iranian propaganda swarm didn't just fail to hit the carrier. It provided the target list for its own destruction. The message from the U.S. Navy to the IRGC is far more nuanced and chilling. We saw you before you launched. We didn't just reach you. We let you reach out so we could find where you live. And we didn't use our missiles because we were saving them for your command centers. Modern warfare is no longer a contest of courage or even numbers. It is a contest of signal processing and energy management. In this new era, the side that controls the electromagnetic spectrum controls the outcome of the battle. The Meteor project is just the first iteration of a fleet-wide rollout that will define naval supremacy for the 2030s. Iran's moped drones are now nothing more than target practice for a sensor-networked, energy-dominant superpower. The engagement is over. The data is uploaded to the Pentagon, and the strike group moves to its next station. The next time a swarm launches, it won't be a test, it will be the final signature on an expired military doctrine. The Navy has a new weapon, and the math of the Middle East has changed forever. This is the power narrative of the modern sea. Adapt or be erased at the speed of light.